Hello everyone and welcome to the very first edition of Fuzzybutts and Friends. So early, I think this is the early beta version, I think.
The earliest edition.
The earliest edition. But we thought since we're still sort of beta testing this whole concept out and this whole format out in the studio, Fuzzybutts Studios, we thought we'd have, for our very first guest, the director of the Puppy Up Foundation, someone who's been with us pretty much since the very start, Ginger Morgan. How are you, kiddo?
Thanks for having me on the show.
Good.
For the very
Early edition.
Early edition.
Well, it makes sense because we've had so many questions. You have so many questions about Walk 3, and I know a lot of other people have questions as well. And I'm just trying to, as I'm putting everything together, we're getting everything geared up and everything, I'm trying my best to answer questions and update people via the blog at hudsonriverwalk.org. But I'm finding that, it's just tough for me to answer everybody's questions also on social media. So I figured the best way to start Fuzzybutts and Friends is to have a conversation with you, to update everybody in the walk, and to try to get all the questions that people are having, just kind of get it all out there, right, as best we can. So I don't really have any sort of, this is you interviewing me, I'm interviewing you. It's weird how this is set up. Typically in the future, is probably Fuzzybutts and Friends is going to be me running the show almost entirely, but I believe in an organic process. So why don't you start?
Well,
How about you start?
I'll start off.
Yeah.
So we make the assumption that most everybody knows who you are when we do Puppy Up, and because we are typically surrounded by a lot of people who do know who you are. But for those people who don't know who you are and kind of joined in on our social media and supporting us in the last few years, can you take a few minutes to tell them what inspired you to walk 4,000 miles across the country to bring awareness to canine cancer?
Well, that's a tall order.
That's your why. This is your why.
The why is very easy. Is that Malcolm was my first why. I guess I'm having done 2 walks and now I'm about to start on my 3rd. The why is always my boy. Malcolm was my first. He's actually my first dog in my adult life, and he changed things. I had never knew and never had any sort of spiritual relationship with an animal before. What I called an animal back then, now I call a companion, my mates, my boys. But I never had that before. Didn't even think such a thing was possible, and got Malcolm, and our first couple of months were tough. I think I tried to give him back to the fair lady who blessed my life with him. I think I even tried to give him to my parents, but I think we made it through the first couple of months.
So ultimately you bonded?
Yeah. The way I like to say it is, because it is so true, it's a clever way to think about it, but it's still so true, is that Malcolm and I were basically a perfect study of when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. He was my first adult dog, but he was also my first Great Pyrenees. And it was tough our first couple of months, but he broke me, and after that, I didn't go anywhere without him. Where I go, he go, right? He was my mate. And I didn't understand that. I never had that feeling, that sense where, gosh, I can't go, there really was fun was limited without Malcolm with me, You get invited to parties. I used to love to to do karaoke parties and whatnot.
Did he sing with you?
No, but he loved hearing me sing. He actually loved. I used to sing.
Really?
I used to sing opera to Malcolm. I did. I loved singing opera to him, and he would just sit up so attentively, so rapt. Now, all of my Fuzzybutts subsequent to Malcolm, I started singing him as like, yeah, Poppy. Yeah, they don't care those saying grace, but Malcolm, my person.
It's kind of hard for me to believe that he listened.
He did. That's very true. That's not fake. That's not a fake story. That is very true. But if you fast forward, I guess, through all all of the life experiences the first for me, right? Everything was a first for me with Malcolm, like, because I never had a dog, this rich, full relationship with a dog in my adult life. And so going to dog parks, going to hiking, backpacking, never done that with a dog, golfing. But even on the golf course, Malcolm would ride shotgun in my golf cart. And I used to love to go out and hit practice balls.
Did he play better than you?
Well, that's debatable, actually. You know, my game is not very good. Bit of a duffer, actually. But what he didn't do was he didn't bark in my backswing. That's a good thing.
That's good.
And he loved being out on the golf course. I loved having him there. It was perfect. It was just the perfect thing for me. And I never had that feeling in my life of what to have a true companion. I never had a mate in my life, and he became that for me. So when I moved to Boston in 2004 from Texas, and we'd only been there a short while, and moved up there with my partner at the time, and Malcolm and Murphy. I got Murphy a couple of years after I got Malcolm, and so I was up in Boston just for a short time, and he started limping, and I took him to a vet up there, and he said, "I'm pretty sure he has bone cancer. Let's take a look at the radiograph." They did an X-ray, and sure enough, bone cancer. And I remember that moment with absolute perfect clarity. I was like, "Dogs get cancer? What are you saying? Dogs get cancer?" And because that was 2004, and I had absolutely no idea, and I think there was still such little literature out there available about osteosarcoma in dogs, and it was very new. It shocked me, and it changed my life, that moment, forever. And that began my journey, the story. A bit longer of a story, I think, than what you wanted, but it's so hard for me to think about that.
It's hard to shorten your why. So
it is.
Malcolm
was
the reason why you started the walk.
Absolutely, but thank you for reminding me. You occasionally have to. I go on a bit, and you have to remind me of what the question was, because I stray.
Well, sometimes you go on, and I forget what the question was.
I'm sure you do. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. So the why. So I think back. Why? Why did I walk from Austin to Boston? And it was the question, why? Why was the question? Why did I walk? Why was it? Why did he get cancer? I'd done everything that I thought I was supposed to do, that the veterinarians that were a part of Malcolm's life at the time told me to do. And I learned everything I could about nutrition. I was what I would consider I was a fairly educated pet parent. And yet at the young age of 6, he still got cancer. So why? Why is it? That was really the driving motivation for me. But I got to tell you, Ginger, a lot of it was just me being pissed off. That could happen. That I got this companion. I was blessed with this great gift in my life that changed me. And at 6, he was diagnosed with this deadly disease, and unfortunately with bone cancer in dogs, it is really a death sentence. There are a few cases, you and I both know, we've seen a few cases where the prognosis is very good, 5 years plus. So we've seen some long-term bone cancer patients, but his was not the case. We got almost 2 years, and from there I just made the decision to sell my truck, put my stuff into storage, and with my 2 Pyrenees at the time, Hudson and Murphy, and just get on the road and start walking and sharing Malcolm's story. That began the foundation and was the first walk 1.
So, and the second walk was inspired by Murphy.
Murphy, yeah, if you fast forward all of that, well, what a lot of people don't know is it took over 2 years for the first walk from Austin to Boston. It was 2,300 miles, pretty much on the nose, 2,300 miles, the way that we went. And boy, we got to Austin June. You have to remind me of the date. In fact, there's so many big dates in my life.
You left Austin, I believe it was March 16th.
That's right. Coming up.
08.
That's right. Yeah, 08.
And you walked into Boston on June 19th of 2010.
2010, that's right.
That's Father's Day.
That's right. So over 2 years, that's right. We were on the road. And so we got there mid-June, basically, and I'd stopped down on my way back to see some friends. I was on my way to Colorado to work with Ed at the time on the book, and dropped off Murphy there in Memphis, here in Memphis, and with you. Wow, that's a strange sense of that, remembering that. And gosh, within weeks, Murphy was bleeding out of his snout, and we were thinking, he had the snotty nose. I remember that, he had snotty nose.
Right, yeah.
Within a couple of weeks, and then it turned a little bloody. And we were just thinking he'd caught a cold there in Boston, the final mile. Like hundreds of dogs. He was around hundreds and hundreds of dogs for the final mile. And then we took him to CSU and found out it was cancer. And wow, that was not even a month, right? I think August. Yeah, he got the diagnosis in August.
Right. It was a little over a month because he was treated for, like an infection for a few weeks,
right.
I think, and then
right.
that didn't clear up. So.
Right, and as some of you may know, that was very tough. We did radiation, and we didn't get a good outcome out of that. Shortly after that, we did a Summer of Murphy tour to kind of share his story and his life, and that was wonderful. But after the first walk, it was over 2 years, I really wasn't thinking about, I guess I was thinking about a second walk, how I was going to do it logistically, but it really wasn't until, I guess, shortly before 2013 that the idea of walking the West Coast, kind of the opposite side of the first walk. So we did more of the East Coast, some of Central America towards the East Coast. And I got the vision of walking the entire length from Canada to Mexico, which ended up being right around 1,700 miles. And that took us a little over, 7 months, I think, from May to December.
Correct.
And so the two of those combined, 4,000 miles that and a variation of my Fuzzybutts, Murphy and Hudson for walk 1 from Austin to Boston, and then on walk 2, the West Coast walk, that was Indiana and Hudson. Hudson was part of the trip, and then he bailed.
He realized he was not just going out for a short walk around the block, and he did not.
Yeah, I realized I forgot about keeping time, so I hope we're not going on too much with sharing old stories. So we do want to keep this within an hour. So you do kind of keep me on schedule. It's great to go over the stories, but fast forward. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, so I will go ahead and ask my next question. We'll kind of fast forward to that. And,
wait. No, I gotta go back to the why though, because if you look at that, because I didn't answer for the second walk. So of course, all of my walks were whys. I guess if I've lost Malcolm to cancer, and I felt compelled. It's an important question, I think. And when I thought about it, I felt compelled to walk, and for me, I just felt compelled just to walk and share a story. And the same thing is true with Murphy. And now, obviously, having recently lost Hudson, I'm now with posts with that question. And so I've asked myself, why is it that I walking itself? Why is that my form of memorial? I'm not sure if you're going to ask that question. If you are, I'll wait. But to me, I've been thinking about that a lot. Why is it that I choose? Right? People choose how they remember and honor their loved one that they've lost. And so why have I chose walking long distances as mine? Okay, go ahead.
So
I know I irritate the hell out of you. I'm sorry. I'm horrible. I'm sorry, but my brain is.
So you kind of skipped to the end of my questions, but I'm going to go.
All the time.
I'm going to go back. So
sorry. Big dog.
And if you were going to keep within 10 hours, your questions,
I hope
your
so.
answers are probably going to have to be
I'm going to have
short.
to edit this, I'm sure. Go ahead. Editing takes so long. That's why.
And so you're now planning for your third walk.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to be walking for the third?
Well, this one was easy for me. I think it was sort of simple. We're going to be doing the entire length of the Hudson River because that's how Hudson got his name. The woman who blessed my life with Malcolm, she moved to New York City, and so when I after I lost Malcolm and I adopted Hudson, rescued him. It's more like it, from Waco, Texas. I was searching for a name and sort of an homage to her. I named him after the Hudson River. So it's just fitting that, just shortly after he passed, I just immediately knew it, walked the entire length of the Hudson River. And I had no idea at the time what I was getting into. Okay, it sounds great, it makes sense. But what's fascinating to me, Ginger, is how powerful of a metaphor and how important this whole story, walking the length of the Hudson River, has become. And so our starting point is going to be the origin of the Hudson River, which is up in the Adirondacks. Specifically, it's a really beautiful spot we went to back in November where we shot the trailer that's up and coming. It's a beautiful Henderson Lake, just perfectly nestled in beautiful mountains of the Adirondacks. The lake is crystal perfect, and that's the origin of the Hudson River. So it snakes through the Adirondacks and then dips down south of Albany, pretty sure, over to Glen Lakes. We'll go over the map here in a second. And here it is right here. What am I talking about? Now, I know we did sort of a film check on this, and you can't really see this map very well at home, but I wanted to go and put it up on the screen so at least I have some visual reference here to help out. So here's the vision, here's the walk plan. The walk plan, Henderson Lake up in the Adirondacks, and here's New York City. So we're gonna basically follow this route. Now this is a river, so we can't walk on the river. Well, maybe Grayson can. He's spiritual.
If Hudson had been walking,
that's true. That's right. I was thinking. How do I put that? It would have been Hudson.
He would definitely think that he could walk on
Hudson.
Water, although he absolutely hated water. So, what are the total miles, do you think, from the beginning of the Hudson until New York City?
Well, I think the nautical miles, if that's the precise term, it's 350 miles from Henderson Lake to dumps right into here to the Hudson Bay, the East River.
350.
350 miles. Now we're going to be zigging and zagging and doing some funny things around here. I have a general idea of what route we'll be taking, but we'll be doing a lot of zigging and zagging. So I'm hoping 400 miles, no more than 400 miles.
So you've said your first walk was give or take 2,300, and you started that out 14 years ago. 14 years ago.
Yeah,
and then your next walk was approximately 1,700 miles, a little shorter, you were a little older. So now your third walk is approximately 400 miles, and you're
I'm getting older, my walks are getting shorter.
Exactly, that's what I want to point out, is that the older you get...
I had to beat you to the punch there, I had to preempt your ass, I just totally had to...
Of course you did. So what is training going to look like for you now that you're getting older? But I see that you're strategically shortening the walks.
Well, this walk is going to be a lot different. There's no doubt about it now. And I wasn't thinking about it in terms of pointing it out in terms of my age, but you're right. My first walk was in my 30s, my second, my 40s. Now I just entered my early 50s to turn. And so I have a different operating environment than my other walks. Let's just call it that. At least that's what I call it. And I have that, and we have Grayson, who's my new beautiful Fuzzybutt. I'm still calling him a Fuzzybutt trainee. There are a couple of things we're working out, but God bless him. He's he's my boy. And so he's three-legged, as most people know, and he's sleeping over there. I was trying to see if I could rouse his attention. He's sawing logs.
Yeah, he's not moving.
Yeah, he's the Fuzzybutts and the Fuzzybutts friends of this, so we need to bring him out whenever I do the intro. Remind me of that. Make note of that. So he's three-legged, and so that represents a bit of a challenge. I'm at 50, and he's three-legged, and so it's going to be interesting.
And how old is Grayson?
He just turned 2. And so... that's going to represent a unique challenge for us. So we're still working through logistics. I know you want to ask about that. We want to cover that because, as you know, in both of my previous walks, and I hope that most people know, but they should know, is that Grayson's health and safety is priority number one. If I had to do this entirely by myself, I'll do it, right? This just as true on the West Coast. It just so happened that Hudson had to bail, but Indiana was able to finish the West Coast walk. But we will have multiple contingency plans in place. We'll have the whole thing mapped out, and the good news is we'll be doing a podcast and interview here coming up with the folks at Tripods, and we'll have them involved. So I'm sure they'll put their seal of approval. Well, it's got to have Mommy G's seal of approval as well.
Well, my seal of approval is
secondary to
ultimate.
mine. No, ma'am.
The ultimate.
You may
seal
think
of
it's
approval.
that there. No, ma'am. Poppy here, Mommy. When it comes to my safety
so
and my
that brings
boys.
me to the question of who is going to be shipping your supplies.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to find somebody.
That means it's my ultimate.
Well, here's where we're shooting this video, so this is a call for volunteers. Anybody wants to take over logistics, shipping care packages to the boys.
Feel free to contact me.
Yeah.
All
right,
so
what's
let's
next?
see. What is my well? My question would be, what's training going to look like for the two of you? What extra things are you going to need to do with Grayson to make sure that he's physically fit to actually do the walk? And you're planning on, I'm assuming, adjusting how many miles you're walking per day with him, as opposed to what you walked with Indiana and Hudson and Murphy on the other walks?
Can I take the seventh part first? I mean, how many questions were in there? You gotta.
I have to get all my questions.
I'm a simple-minded. Well, that's not true. I'm complex-minded, but complex is my thinking. I gotta keep things simple for your big dog.
Well,
so training first. Training first. So we really haven't gone geared up training full force yet, as you know. We're going to be starting that. We're starting that now in terms of we'll be spending time with a therapist for Grayson to help build up all the musculature he'll need.
Physical therapist.
Physical therapist. Right. Well, physical therapist for him, mental therapist for me, and you.
You answered.
I'm sure.
Thank you for clarifying.
Right. Exactly.
Mental.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll need the mental therapist with all the stress you'll be undergoing. So we will have. I'll be developing with the physical therapist a training regimen. I have my own, and of course I'll be working with the trainer as well. So you'll see training ramp up here in February. That will give us a good 7 months of good physical acclimation to the actual environments. Okay, next question.
Okay, so are you going to have some type of cart or wheels with him, for him? You know, we see the Eddie's wheels. You know, you've seen dogs out, 3-legged dogs with wheels, or dogs that have some, other type of physical, impairment with their legs.
Right.
So what?
Well, first things first, let me give a shout out to our great friend, brother, Kerry Snedden, and his wife, Robin. They lost their beautiful Pyrenees chief, and he had a cart, Eddie's wheels. And after I adopted Grayson, they sent Chief's cart for me to use. And we haven't done a lot of training with it yet, but first off, let me give a shout out, Robin and Carrie, thank you so much. I love you guys a lot. We're not sure what, I'm gonna leave, that's a complex question. That's as yet uncertain. We'll know, it will be a combination. There are going to be some days, I'm sure, that Grayson's not going to be able to walk. He'll need to be in a cart, whether that's going to be a pushing cart, or he'll have a cart, or some variation to take off the stress from the mechanics. We'll have a number of different things. There'll be some times he might actually have to take a day or two off the road, maybe longer than that. What's the most important thing that people need to know is that life on the road is a very fluid environment, right? Things are constantly changing. It's a very complex environment. You got the weather conditions, you have traffic, you have physical conditions, your health and everything. So we're going to have a number of things in store and planned out for Grayson. But right now, I don't know what combination that's going to be. Walk 2 days, cart 2 days, rest a day. I'm not sure. So I'm not trying to be elusive or anything or evasive. I just don't know. We'll know that. We'll know that. I think a couple of months working with a therapist, a physical therapist. I think we're probably going to go out to CSU, Colorado State University. They've got a great program out there. I think maybe a couple months we're going to have let's call it our walk plan. Right? We'll have a route down a little bit better, and then we're going to have sort of our walk routine, our walk plan out.
Okay, so you mentioned that Grayson was a rescue, and you adopted him. So, and I think Carrie actually sent the wheels.
I didn't get the check yet because I kind of kept him on the fence for a while. Another shout out to the Great Pyrenees.
National Great Pyrenees.
My apologies. National Great. My mind just is horrible. National Great Pyrenees. Rescue, the folks, Barbara, everybody there, Jody, great organization. But I kind of thought I was holding on to the check. I didn't want to have buyer's remorse. Just in the off chance that, I was going to have to ship him back, return him COD. But no, he's a beautiful boy. It's about as smart as a potted plant though. But he's a beautiful boy. What was your question? I could talk about him for hours. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get started.
Well, what I was going to say, it wasn't actually a question, is that when we posted pictures of me fostering Grayson, I think then that's when Carrie went ahead and sent the Eddie's Wheels, because he knew that you were gonna adopt him. So
I don't know what I was thinking when you asked me, and I said okay, since I office and I have my flat and my studio here, and we coexist, and so when you posed the idea initially to me about Grayson, about fostering him, I don't know what I was thinking. I said sure, love to have him. I guess it just happened so fast. All of a sudden we fostered him, and all of a sudden I fell in love with him, and I couldn't think of him being with anybody else other than me, and I think Carrie knew that. I think Carrie knew that I was going to go through that. And I guess everybody knew that. Shit, I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, that was. I don't know what
I just thought I was going to foster him. I'm like, I ended up with a three-legged Pyrenees.
I had no idea what I was doing when I said, of course, I'll foster a three-legged Pyrenees.
Yeah, I put out a tweet shortly after I did my, what do you call it, gotcha day. When is the gotcha day? I couldn't remember. We were talking about that. Is that February or?
No.
Is it March?
No. The gotcha day is the day we actually started fostering him, because we knew at that point.
No, I think the gotcha day is when you
adopt them. It was pretty much the day that we fostered him.
Okay, well, all right, well, we need a gotcha day. Okay, we need a gotcha day.
It's sometime in October.
All right, we need a gotcha day, but now you made me forget my question.
No, you didn't. I'm asking the questions, you're answering them, so you didn't have a question for me.
Wait, but
Sorry.
this is
my
podcast.
So Grayson was a rescue. What about your other dogs?
Malcolm was a strange story.
So he was basically a rescue.
No. He was not a rescue. An ex-girlfriend of mine. It's a very funny story. I'll save for another time. But an ex-girlfriend of mine called me up and asked me if I wanted a puppy, and I was like, no, I don't. But somehow I ended up with them. So Malcolm was more of a gift, kind of a rescue. I guess I rescued him from her. Maybe that's what I did. And then Murphy was also a gift. Holly, that was from Holly, and same thing. And so she brought. She's miming over there to get my hands. You can just say it. This is an informal interview. You don't have to mime. You look weird, creepy doing that. So I had Malcolm, and it's weird. I had Malcolm, and I only want one dog. This is important. I know we're on a time clock, but this is important. This is the story. This is the whole thing. None of this makes sense unless it's about Malcolm and Murphy and Hudson and the Fuzzybutts. So this is a very important story. I don't know why. I just thought I only had a heart big enough for Malcolm. I didn't want any other dog. It's really weird thinking back on it now. I only wanted Malcolm. Malcolm was the only thing. I was like, I'm in love with Malcolm, and I don't want any other dogs. I don't want any other animals in my life. It's just Malcolm. And then my girlfriend at the time, my partner at the time, she surprised me with Murphy. And somehow I always end up with women giving me dogs, and then I lose the women but keep the dogs, so I end up on the positive side of that ledger, so it's a good thing. So Malcolm and Murphy were sort of entered in my life from the women in my life. They were all great, wonderful people. And then Hudson was a rescue. That was all me. And then, you know the story of Indiana, of course, after Murphy passed, Indiana, the great folks at Bowling Green, Kentucky. Shout out to Lori Hare and Dina and all the great, great people that I love deeply in Bowling Green, Kentucky. They blessed my life with Indiana. Little did I know he'd be a quirky little some bitch, but he's a quirky guy, but I love him. And then I guess we got Grayson. I got Grayson, and I don't know what I was thinking with that. Just thought I was gonna foster him, and fell in love with him.
So all of your dogs have been Great Pyrenees.
Still a trainee though. Fuzzybutt trainee. Go ahead.
All of your dogs have been Great Pyrenees. Are you addicted to Great Pyrenees? Are they like potato chips? You can't just have one?
Well, no, I can. I never want to have more than two because I only have two arms, and I'm kind of like nature. You know, if I'm in trouble, got to put underneath my arms, carry them out of whatever situation I'm in. So I can never have more than two Pyrenees. But I never thought I would be a one breed. I love dogs of all flavors. You know, they're like not potato chips. They're like all kinds of snacks, right? Dogs are snacks, right?
Well,
it's like a snack aisle. There are some that are Funyuns, some that are Cheetos, some that are, this, some that are Cheez-Its, whatever. Dogs are just, there's so many flavors and so many personalities, and some are gummy bears, and, some of the things, the dots that get stuck in your teeth and annoy the hell out of you, and that's what makes dogs so, that's why they're more than dogs. I hate the term dogs. It's so weird. We can talk about this for hours. They're companions, they're mates, they're my boys, and this is something I want to talk about, and you'll hear me, and I'll get kickback from some people, but these are my boys. These are my sons in every sense. And so I guess you never think about having, when you have a son or you have a mate or companion, you don't really think about that. And I didn't think about being a Pyrenees guy. I didn't really think about anything. All this stuff happened in my life by accident. By a stripper in San Antonio, and that all happened by accident. And so none of this was expected. It's almost like the last 15 years of my life was not planned. But look how it's so great and so blessed and so wonderful. What was the question?
I forgot.
Yeah, sorry.
So if people want to get involved with...
Are we skipping ahead? You left out a whole
No,
bunch.
we're not.
Oh, we went through the route. Support system. I guess I was going to get the support system. I had some other things, but go ahead. Let's go ahead. We're running late. We need to keep a clock next time. We need to get a clock here in the studio somewhere. So it's after 7. All right.
Okay, so what do you need help with in planning this walk, and how can people get involved? I guess there are 2 questions.
Yes.
If you can't handle 2 questions at once, so start in what do you need right now in planning.
Well, let's start out with what's the status. That's why I wanted to reiterate that this is a better format. We'll probably do this maybe like once every few weeks, once every month or something. This is a much more effective way to update. We'll just have bullets here or on our whiteboard, or the whiteboard that you have painted. It's not finished. We'll have kind of an update on everything. So the first place to go, the easiest place right now is to go to puppyup.org. Go to also hudsonriverwalk.org. We're going to have, this is where you need to go for the status update on everything. But over the next couple of months, we're going to be rolling out a new microsite for Walk 3, for the Hudson River Walk, where people can go and they can sign up. We're going to have sections of areas of the walks and trail systems, and so people can sign up and say, hey, we want to come out here and walk with you in this little area. Those will be our Hudson's heroes. They can come out and walk with us. And so we're building out that microsite, and we have a number of other things. We actually have a goal this time. We have an objective, a mission, and an amount that we're trying to raise for a specific purpose in mind. That's going to be great. We're excited to announce that coming up. I think we're going to be announcing that. Ginger, you can confirm or disconfirm that. I think that's going to be coming up and probably March 1st. By March 1st, we need to have that announced, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's right. So the site should go live mid to late February. We'll announce sort of the plan, the mission, the race for the Hudson River Walk, and then we'll have some new sites. Oh, also, if you want to hear Grayson's side of the story, we have recently launched his TikTok page. He actually I bought him his own iPhone 13 for this, and so that is at Three-Legged Pyrenees on
Yeah,
TikTok.
on
It's
TikTok.
also Instagram. So we're just getting those kind of up and running. We're going to have multiple ways that people can participate this in multiple social media platforms. So there are going to be a lot of different ways that people can participate. This is going to be unlike Walk 1 and Walk 2 in so many different ways. Walk 2 was so frustrating because what I didn't know on Walk 2 prior to is that my cell phone service south of Newport, Oregon, all the way basically to this north of Southern California, basically just north of LA, was so bad that we couldn't upload videos. We didn't have cell phone service for so many miles. We were just stuck in the wilderness. So this will be a lot different. We've got cell phone service. I think we have so people will be able to participate. We'll have a ton of social media ways for people to participate, and we'll be announcing those as we go live with each one. All right, did I answer your questions? I'm kind of looking at my notes here too.
So
What's
if
next?
anybody has any questions after watching this video, then maybe they should just contact me.
I'm going to say for now, we're setting everything up. Ginger at puppyup.org. You be the point of contact because I got so much, my bandwidth is to the max. So
that's ginger at puppyup.org.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to go over. So people are asking. So we're shooting a lot of film. We're filming all of this. We're filming this right now. We're filming all of our Zoom videos. All of our Zoom videos, Zoom meetings. We're filming everything as much as we can because we're putting this together in a web series. This web series we hope will evolve into a docu-series that we're going to cut together after Walk 3. So we hope to go live with the first episode 1 of the web series. I think February 1st. I think is when we go live with that, and we're going to be having I think episodes of our web series every other week. Well, basically we're filming as much as we can. It's our rate limiting step is how quickly we can edit them and get them up on live. So we'll have the web series that we're calling right now the making of Walk 3. And it's kind of the making of the docu-series. The docu-series we're going to have on one of the streaming services. So this is going to be the real deal. Basically, the docu-series, we'll go more into this later on. We'll probably have an episode entirely about the docu-series because we're doing interviews. And this has been something I've been working on for well over a decade, and it's never come together for technical reasons, for a whole host of reasons. So we're really excited about that. Stay updated and stay tuned for the web series that's up and coming, the making of Walk 3. Okay, the other thing you asked for help, things that people can help me on. Very soon, I'm going to be asking people for their help for a tattoo artist. This is a big one for me. I have the tattoo of Malcolm, but I've never got my tattoo of Murphy, and now I just lost Hudson. So my vision is to have the sort of the trilogy, bring all 3 tattoos of Malcolm, Murphy, and Hudson in kind of a triptych. Malcolm's on my right, Murphy's on my left, and Hudson on my back. The rock, the ripple, and the river, the Hudson River. So if anybody out there knows I'm looking for just the best portrait artists or just best artists, I just would love to have a working list of 3 or 4 tattoo artists. Doesn't matter anywhere in the country because I've waited this long and I don't want to start Walk 3 without having Murphy and Hudson tattooed on me and having them walking with. I'll have their ashes, of course, but I want them. So I've been building up to this. I've had this vision for a long time. So please, if you know any wonderful tattoo artists that can help me out with this vision, it's going to be, I'll need them to draw it out. We'll need to sketch it out, illustrate it. It's going to be a several month process. So we want to start it now. And my dream is to have the actual ink dry right when I start walk 3. All right, what's next?
That's it.
Are you sure? I can carry on. I can talk a lot more.
I
got
know you could, and you don't
this
even
much
need-
more water left, so I can talk at least another half an
Well,
hour.
let me not show you how much water I have left, so you don't try to steal mine. So, I think that's it. But thanks for updating us and letting me be part of your interview. And to
Fuzzybutts and friends.
the Fuzzybutts and friends. So
Greg, come here, baby. Well, we can't have Fuzzybutts and friends without the Fuzzybutt. Come here, sweetheart. I know it's
I
nappy
can.
time. I know
You're
it's
just
night
gonna,
night.
you just have
Come
to
here,
edit
sweetheart.
a picture of him in here because he's not.
He's not even moving. Come here,
not
sweetie.
moving.
Greg, get on over here.
He's giving
Get
me
on
that
over
side
here.
eye like I am not
Get on
moving.
over. It's your world, baby. We're just living in your world. Get on over here. I wish the camera was on him right now. At some point, we're probably going to have the studio decked out with a couple of webcams in here or something. Gregory, come here. Come here, baby. Get on over here. Get on over here. Come here. Get on over here. All right, there you go. Get on over here. Give me something. Give a treat. Get on over here. Come
You should
here.
have treats for your dog in your office.
We need treats. Well, hand me some treats over here. Would you grab it from over there, please? Gregory, come here. Keto, come here. Come here. Throw the treats over there. Come here.
Well, as soon as I walk over here,
Come here, baby. All right. I don't even hope you can see me in the camera. Come here. I know you got the sleepy head. All right, let's turn
that
him butt
pork
around.
chop tied around your neck.
Well, this didn't work out how I wanted to work out. I'm sorry, sleepy head. And there we go. All right. Well,
Well, you can see the back of his head.
was a rather anticlimactic way to wrap up our first edition of Fuzzybutts and Friends. There's the Fuzzybutts part of it, or part of it.
And I guess we're
anyway.
the friends.
And we're the friends, exactly. So your treats. All right, thank you so much. I will try to condense it down and have a tighter format next time. This is our beta test.
Thanks
Puppy
for
up.
staying with us.
Thank you very much. Puppy up. Talk soon.
Puppy up.
Good boy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up.